Deputy Wallace.
Thanks, Cathaoirleach. Minister, there is a big brother aspect to this operation, and there doesn't seem to have been much debate with regard to fundamental rights, proportionality or safeguarding of data. And I have a number of questions, Minister. I don't know if I'll get answers today, but maybe I'll get them at another time if I don't. The European Commission's Data Protection Working Party, which is an independent European advisory body made up of employees of the Director General Justice in the European Commission, published an opinion on interoperability between the EU IT systems in the field of border control, international protection, migration, police and judicial cooperation in April 2018. They highlighted the lack of analysis of data protection issues in the impact assessment given. They also found that no information was given as to which data protection regime would apply to which operation, and that no evaluation of the security measures needed for the EU-wide databases was carried out. There was also no analysis of less intrusive means to reach the goals set in the proposals. This is a pretty damning report. Can you provide details of any analysis carried out into interoperability in the meantime, and specifically into data protection issues, security measures needed or less intrusive ways of achieving the same goal? The EU Commission Data Protection Working Party highlight also that interoperability of IT systems as proposed by the EU raises fundamental questions regarding the purpose, necessity and proportionality of the data processing involved, as well as concerns regarding the principles of purpose limitation, data minimisation, data retention and clear identification of a data controller. The European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, FRA, has on a number of occasions expressed concern over the fundamental rights implications of interoperability with regard to EU LISA. Indeed, the impact of large-scale IT systems on fundamental rights remains largely unexplored territory. In 2017, the FRA issued a rebuke warning that this interoperability could lead to discriminatory profiling. And I'm just wondering, what safeguards do you have in place to prevent this information being accessed illegally? With regard to interoperability, the FRA has identified the issue of function creep, whereby data collected for one reason, for example asylum and migration, can then be used for other purposes. For example, internal security by law enforcement agencies. Indeed, the FRA has found that the IT systems established by the EU for asylum and migration management are increasingly being used for internal security reasons. What safeguards are in place to ensure that the databases that are not abused by law enforcement agencies carrying out checks on people inside the EU who may be subject to the check due to their colour, effectively racial profiling? The FRA has documented many instances in which inaccurate biometric or alphanumeric data has been entered into databases in the areas of borders, visas and asylum. This can result in a wrong Dublin Protocol transfer. It can lead officials to suspect identity fraud and can bar entry into the EU. It can even lead to a person being detained. If this data is accessed unlawfully, the person can be put in unnecessary danger. Do you have any concerns that the centralisation of this data will make it more difficult to spot inaccuracies and may actually put people in danger? Article 5 of the GDPR requires that third country nationals are informed about the relevant aspects of their personal data being processed in a transparent and easily understandable manner. In reality, the right to information is often not upheld. The European Data Protection Supervisor has also raised concerns over interoperability, calling it a political choice rather than a technical one. According to them, the decision of the EU legislator to make large-scale IT systems interoperable would not only permanently and profoundly change their structure and their way of operating, but would also change the way legal principles have been interpreted in this area so far, and would be, as such, be a point of no return. Now, the EDPS called for further debate on the issue in order to figure out how to protect fundamental rights. These IT systems deal with migration, the fight against terrorism and serious crime, as the European Data Protection Supervisor points out. Referring to these terms almost interchangeably risks conflating all the issues and ultimately could lead to a perceived link between terrorists, criminals and migrants. Considering the recent swing to the right across most of Europe and worrying incidents such as the protests against the Roma in Italy, are you not concerned that supporting the securitisation of Europe is pushing us further down a dangerous road towards racism and exclusion, which goes against the fundamental principles of the EU, you would think? Thank you.
Thank you.